Welcome to episode 6 of the Canucks Abroad interview series in partnership with Northern Starting 11. I'm your host, Thomas Neff, and I'm joined by Dominik Yankov from Bratsa, Bulgaria.
Hello, Thomas.
Thanks for coming on, Dominik.
No problem. How are you?
Good. So your story begins in Toronto, where you were born, your grassroots development at Power FC. Can you tell me a brief summary about that?
Yeah, I started off, my first academy was Power FC, Power Soccer Academy. I spent 5 years there. I had really good memories there. We played in a lot of tournaments in America and in Ireland. We won also a lot of SAC tournaments, which is Soccer Academy Association Club. I think that's what it's for. And yeah, basically I had a really good time there. Also, one of the coaches was a former Toronto FC and Canada national team player, Marco Retta. So I'm really honored that I was coached by him, and obviously the other coaches I had too.
Perfect. And then at age 13, since you have the European Union passport, you traveled to Sunderland's academy. How did that trial come about?
Yeah, basically with Power, we went to a tournament in Ireland, and I think that's when I really showcased myself. I got contacted by scouts from Manchester City, Fulham, and Sunderland, and Sunderland showed the most interest, so we thought that it was best for me to go there. And yeah, that's when basically I went. I got accepted, and we moved to Sunderland.
That's right. You just mentioned it there. You got incorporated. You made the team. Can you expand on the adaptation from Canada to England?
Yeah, it was. England was a really good part of my development because I played against some top teams there, top academies, and really good players that play in the Premier League now, also in Bundesliga, like Jadon Sancho, Phil Foden, Marcus Rashford. So yeah, I'm really thankful that I was there for 3 years, and I learned and developed a lot as a player.
Was it sort of surreal, to play against, Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, etc., even though it was just youth?
Yeah, it still felt really, really good because you get to see what level you are at and the other academies. So I feel that it was a good test for me, and it was definitely a big part of my development.
Certainly, and in between that, from when you left at age 13 till you got in, and your time at Sunderland, you had a U15 camp with Canada, where you were there with Jonathan David and Alphonso Davies.
Yes, I got called at under 15s when I was in Sunderland, and yeah, we were there for a week and a half, I think, which was we played three friendly games against Vancouver, Toronto FC, and I think it was Edmonton. So yeah, we had a good time there, and obviously these players, Alfonso and Jonathan, they now play in big leagues, and they're doing really well. So I'm glad that I was there with them.
Right. How competitive is the Premier League's U16, U14 academy system?
They're quite competitive. There's a lot of kids from Eastern Europe, Western Europe that get scouted there. So the competition is definitely big, and in order to play there, you need to be better than the local kids from England. So that's why I think that it's really hard and competitive.
For sure, you mentioned to be better than the local kids in England, the local domestic talent. They're not gonna bring a foreigner, if the same kind of quality. But let me ask you, did you have an influential coach from your time there?
Well, I can't spot out one certain coach, but I feel that I learned from all the coaches that I had there, which I'm thankful, and yeah, basically basically that's it. I'm thankful to all the coaches that have developed me there.
Now you're obviously you're training in world class facilities. That has to inspire, do something for you psychologically, no?
Oh yeah, yeah. Obviously, Sunderland had about I don't know 11 or 10 or 11 training grounds, football pitches. So obviously you go there every day with a smile on your face, and you get to train with these facilities. So yeah, it's a big thing for me. It's a big thing, and I'm really happy that I was there.
Right on. At age 16, you then leave Sunderland to go to Bulgaria, your parents' country, and yours as well, to a big club like Ludogorets Razgrad. Can you tell me why you made that move?
Yeah, my parents decided to move back to Bulgaria, so so I moved back here. I started playing for the under 17s age group for uh, for 5 or 6 months, which was a good development for me as well because we won the league. We also won the cup. So so yeah, that year was just good for me as developing as a youth player.
You mentioned there you spent a year in the academy, before turning pro, and signing the contract with the reserve team in the second division. What was that feeling like?
No, first I played 6 months with the under 17s team, and that's when also we played youth Champions League, uh, youth Champions League against Arsenal, PSG, Basel. So I think some of those matches the first team coach came to watch, and he was impressed with my performances. And at the age of 16, after my time with the youth team, he called me straight away to join the first team for preseason. So yeah, I was really happy at that time, and I went to preseason with them. We played against really good teams there, Turkish teams, Russian teams, and that play in Europa League, and also against Shakhtar Donetsk that plays every year in Champions League. So I did pretty well at that preseason. And after when we came back here, I was offered the contract.
Right, you were offered the contract. Can you can we go back a little bit and tell me about UEFA Youth Champions League? Even though it was just youth, I had Liam Miller say he said it was his favorite competition because, like you said, there you got to play against PSG, Basel, and all these other big clubs. You got to travel, good for team bonding, and as well, like there are more eyes on you internationally. Let's say.
Yeah, exactly. You know, for some of the kids, even in Bulgaria, it was the biggest thing they've ever seen because when we traveled there, they have never seen such facilities and such good players. So it was definitely a big thing for us. And yeah, as I said, it was really good to to get to be in that competition.
So you signed the first team contract with Ludogorets, Razgrad's first team.
Yeah.
When you had an impressive preseason, you said the coach saw you. Um, Now before you made your, we'll get to that in little later. Sorry, before you made your debut for the first team, you actually had quite 2 seasons of development with the second team. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you had the first season you had 19 goals and 19 games and 2 goals. In the second season you had 22 games and 2 goals. In those 41 games or so, playing a lot of first team minutes. What's it like on a week to week basis, knowing that, hey, like even though it is a second team, I am, my first team contract is with a big club who's watching these games.
Yeah, I think this was a really good idea because when we came back from our training camp, the coaches and the staff decided that it was good for me to get professional team football. So obviously Ludogorets has a second team. And I started playing professional football in the second league at the age of 16. So I think that was a really, really big part of my development because it's hard from youth football to to get into the first team, into professional football. So yeah, I felt that it really helped me to play in the second division because I developed a lot as a player there, and I saw and I felt what it was like to be in and around professionals.
Excellent. And moving forward, you, as I mentioned before, you made your first team debut for Ludogorets Raskrad. Who was it with? And then obviously the games that followed. A couple of games in one season, then a couple of games in the next season, and so on.
My first team debut was with a coach called Dimitar Dimitrov. Obviously, the coach that called me up for preseason, uh, and he was watching all the games that I played for the second team. So my debut was against Levski Sofia, the team that was in second place, and it was
Oh,
the day that we became champions of Bulgaria. So I was 17 years old, and I think that was probably the most special day for me uh, at the time. And obviously after that, I played 3 games after my debut, and
hmm. Is there a story that you have, that really, catches, with maybe not your own eye, but everybody else's eyes? Like, let's say, did you ever, get a chance to, be involved in a big game or in some way, shape, or form in the game day squad?
I think the debut obviously was a big game, and uh, a big moment for me was when I also got called to be in the squad for Europa League against Bayer Leverkusen in Zurich. Uh, Sadly, I didn't make a debut there. I was 17. Uh, the coach relied on experienced players, but I still felt that I traveled I traveled with the team. I was on the bench against such big clubs, and I was there. The stadium was full, so I think that was a good experience for me at that time and a special moment.
Well, to be on the bench against Bayer Leverkusen, a big Bundesliga club in the European League is it's quite the moment. You then represented Bulgaria at the under 19 and under 21 level in the youth. Um, How did you guys do? How did you guys do in the UEFA Youth qualifying? And did you guys get to qualify for the UEFA Euro 21, U21, and U19?
With under 19s, with my age group 2000, we actually did really well. All of our friendly matches we won, and we had 3 qualification games against Greece, Romania, and Gibraltar. Uh, we drew the first game against Romania 1-1. The second game we beat Gibraltar, I think 6 or 7-0. And all we needed to do is take 1 point against Greece in our last match. But it started off well. We created a lot of chances the first half. It was 0-0, and then the second half, we in about 70th minute until not the 90th minute, they scored 3 goals. So that was sadly uh, we got knocked out that time. So that was it with the under 19 age group, and with the under 21s, actually we're doing quite well now. We're in a group with Russia, Poland, Serbia, Latvia, and Estonia. Uh, we beat Estonia 4-0. We drew with Latvia. We drew with Russia. We beat Poland 3-0, And obviously, we only lost one game against Serbia, and in out of all of those 5 games, we've only conceded one goal. And so we still have a chance to qualify. We still have games ahead.
Excellent. You something that came up recently. You were recently put on the Canada's 50-man provisional roster for the Olympic qualifying tournament, which obviously did not happen for obvious reasons that we are living in this COVID-19 pandemic in Mexico that was supposed to take place. Does that mean that you filed your one-time switch?
Yeah, again, it's a big thing that Canada is still following me, and I'm really happy about this because I'm born in Canada. Canada's in my heart, so hopefully everything's back to normal, and we can see what will happen about that.
Okay. So you don't rule out possibly both alternatives since you are right now with the U21 side, like you said, playing against Russia, Poland, and all those competitions in UEFA. But you like you said earlier, you do have an eye on Canada, and you will see in the moment, no?
Yeah, exactly. I can't betray Bulgaria's under 21 team right now because uh, we're doing quite well and we play against good countries. But for the future, I think that the best decision would be that whichever country contacts me first for the men's national team, then that's where I'm gonna go.
Excellent. So then you were put on the professional team more or less as a standard practice. But how did that come about? How did Canada Soccer contact you and whatnot?
I was contacted by the under 23 Greece coach Mauro Biello by email. So yeah, they said that they're following my development, and yeah, that's about it. I was happy about that, so we're keeping in contact.
Sure. Right now you're currently on loan to a first division club in the city of Vratska. Can you tell me about like your current moment right now?
Yeah, I decided to go on loan. I think it's best for me because I'm 19 years old. I need to be playing every match. I need to be getting playing time. And obviously, Ludogorets they don't rely as much as on young players. They rely on experienced older players. So I felt that the clubs that wanted me from first league, to get game time was the best idea for me. Yeah, I'm happy here. I have 4 goals for the club, 3 assists, and I'm just looking forward for the championship starting next week.
Oh, starting next week. Maybe update me on how Bulgaria is dealing with this crisis and as well as like you said, starting next week.
Yeah, I think it's like just like the other countries. We're trying to keep safe here, wearing masks uh, wherever we go, but it's basically gonna be like the Bundesliga. The same rules that they're playing right now without fans being able to come and watch. So yeah, that's about it.
When you were with Ludogorets team, um, did you ever encounter Milan Borjan when he signed for the club and played?
Uh, Actually, no, I came and I think he left 3 months after, but I was still with the youth team, so I didn't get to speak with him.
No, no.
But I know he's a nice guy. He's a funny guy, so it would have been good to know him.
For sure, for sure. Something a little more sentimental, I guess. At the end of the day, football is football as we know it. In a way, football feels different or less for someone else. I think that's very subjective. But I want to ask you, you being from Toronto, obviously living in a small town like Bulgaria, how different is it? Toronto, 5 million people, 6 million people. if you include the Greater Toronto area and Bratska, a small Bulgarian town.
Yeah, for sure. It's quite challenging at the beginning, because I've lived in Toronto, I've lived in Sunderland, and now in this small city. So I've seen a lot of things. I've had a lot of friends which are back home in Canada that I miss, but I can't complain a lot because at the end of the day, I'm here to play football and
Mhm.
to develop. So yeah, I have friends from the team. They come over sometimes. We play FIFA. We go out for a walk in the city center where there's not much people, but what can you do about it? And yeah, it's not as hard as people think, but as I said, at the end of the day, I'm here to play football.
That's right. You're there to play football and an opportunity to be in the first division with that club there. Um, you're like you said, it's a temporary move, and you play FIFA. The thing that any 19-year-old the thing that any 19-year-old would do in your case. You are quite young, but if I can ask you this, what do you think your future holds?
I can't really say, what it's gonna hold because right now I'm concentrated on the games that are coming up. There's 7 games left until the end of the championship, so I'm gonna try and do my best, until the end of these games, and we'll see. My loan finishes then. I go back to Ludogorets, and we'll see what will happen after that.
When is your contract with Lugarets?
It's until the next summer.
Very good. I want to ask you if there's anything that to finish off on this note, if there's anything that you'd like Canadian fans to know about you.
Um, well, the only thing I can say is I'm a humble young man. Uh, I love the sport. I love football, and we'll see one day what the future will bring, and if I can return back to Canada one day.
Excellent. Myself and everybody else at Canucks Abroad, we thank you for this interview and we appreciate your time and wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you very much. Best of luck, Thomas, and thanks for having here.